Brandon and Bands, that's a very good question and a tough question. I've said it before in the show, Lee, and I'm going to say it again. Where do I stand? I don't care as much for Unai Emery. I care for the identity of Arsenal Football Club and the identity of the team. That's what I care about. I don't think Unai Emery's given us an identity, and we need one. We actually need one. So unless he's going to get them players on the training pitch and he's going to improve them defensively, this could go very wrong for Unai Emery.
My biggest problem, my biggest fear is that we've got to get top 4 this year. So we cannot let this go on till Christmas and then afterwards, and then at the end of the season say, oh, we didn't get top 4 and change. So I feel, you know, I desperately want Unai Emery to turn it around, but I feel that he's got to make some real tough decisions to do that, what we're saying about identity, and that means dropping some big players. They're simple as that. It's either him or them.
You know, Lee, everyone seems to be putting their hopes on Holding, Tierney and Bellerin coming back. When they come back, they are good players. But it's going to take them time.
Yeah, of course it is. I've said that,
It's going to take them time. We can't rely on them.
No.
That's a good question. Allegri would be my choice, solely because he's defensively sound. I think we've got enough firepower at the other end of the pitch. But the problem we haven't got is, 1, organisation, and 2, the identity to say, do you know what, we can go away from home and we could block you. We could make life difficult for you and nick a goal.
Yeah, I'm with Kevin. I wanted Allegri in the first place, if I'll be honest. I also think that he can play some good football. Like Juventus were a good team to watch when they got to that Champions League final, but they could defend. Yeah. And what I liked about them is that what we were talking earlier on about changing tactics during the game. They was getting run out against Spurs that day. He made a couple of little adjustments, bang, bang. It was fantastic to watch. For me, Allegri all day long.
No. Andy, that's a good question. I've never played for a manager where the tactics wasn't understood, because when you play at Arsenal under George Graham, you know exactly what you're doing. And if he says, right, we're going to adjust, because we've already done it before and you're so well drilled, you know exactly where to go. If you need to move inside 10 yards, that's what you're going to do. If you need to move forward 10 yards or move it forward or go into centre forward position, go out wide, you can adjust to make 5. I've played for teams as well who have been fighting relegation, where knowing your keys, knowing exactly what is required of you comes into play. But I have spoken to people who have played for managers who don't quite understand what is wanted. And what that does for the dressing room, it leaves uncertainty. And when a player's uncertainty, when they're uncertain, do I go or do I stay? That will get you beat. When you're uncertain in anything in life, when you're uncertain, you don't know how are you gonna know when you get there if you're uncertain, because you're not gonna make a decision. And that for me is the difficult part about playing for a manager who doesn't give clear messages.
Do you think, going on to that then, you played in Turkey, do you think there could be a communication thing with, being that he's a foreign coach? I watch interviews, no, I can't understand a word he's saying. Do you think that maybe they're not getting it? When you was in Turkey, how did you get that?
Well, because the manager and the coach spoke English, they were English.
Oh, they were English.
British. Gordon Milne and Ian Wilson.
Well,
they could communicate with me nice and easy, and let me know. But they're still having to try and communicate with your teammates.
Yeah.
That's the key. That is the key to understand. Whereas, you're talking about international players here. Freddie Ljungberg speaks perfect English, speaks better English than us. He's there on the bench. He's been brought in. So I'm not having this communication problem with Unai Emery. It's either the players want to do it or they don't want to do it. It's that simple. And by the looks of things, they don't want to do it.
Which is a worry.
Which is a big problem. You know what? That's not just a question, that's a statement.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic question.
Question of the day, that is,
You go first.
I'll go first. Callum Chambers, listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Newcastle have gone to Liverpool. They've gone to Tottenham, they've scored in every game they've played. In 5 games five games they've played, 4 games they've scored in. The only team they've not scored against is Arsenal. And Callum Chambers was a part of that team, and since then he's not had a minute. And we've conceded goals left, right and centre. My answer to that question is he's been totally treated poorly. You know, he's had a very, very good game. I've watched Luiz and I've watched Socrates make mistake after mistake and still be in. I watched him at Newcastle, did not make a mistake, and he's left out the side. Scandalous decision, and another reason why I'm questioning Emery.
I think he's been mistreated, for sure, he has. I think the way that the 2 centre-halves, both centre-halves, are liable, the way they've both defended, you can't defend them.
No.
Callum Chambers is there, didn't put a foot wrong, so I think he should be given a chance. I also think Callum Chambers might be able to do a job in midfield. Might be able to do that holding, that
a proper defender doing it.
Yeah, that nasty piece of work in the midfield.
Dirty work.
Who does the dirty work, who puts his foot in, who puts his head in to players to protect the 2 centre-halves. Because I think David Luiz at Chelsea, he made certain mistakes, but he had good protection in front of him.
He
He
ain't
had
got
like
that
Kante.
now.
He hasn't got that now, and you're seeing him, you know, he's falling apart at times. So maybe that's an opportunity for Callum Chambers to because it seems like Torreira can't do it.
Yeah, or don't want to do it.
Or don't want to do it. Xhaka definitely is not that type of player, apparently. No. He's not that type of player. I think Willock's got too much to his game to hold him. Too much energy. So we need a designated CDM, central defensive midfielder, and it might just work out to be Callum Chambers. He had a good season at Fulham.
Yeah, player of the season at Fulham.
Yeah. That is a really good question.
Another good question.
Now, I watched videos and I saw Torreira play when he was in Italy. See him for Uruguay in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Absolute dog, sit there in the midfield, small but tenacious. And I haven't seen it.
No.
I haven't seen it at Arsenal. I haven't seen it at all. And I just think to myself, I've seen it sometimes last season, but it's this season that counts. And he's spent more time on the bench than he has done on the pitch. Now, is that because of the travelling and the international duty in the summer? Maybe. But maybe Unai Emery's overthinking this thing. Yeah. Because I don't care who you are. You've got to put your best team out on that pitch. And the best team out on that pitch, Torreira is in it.
And I think the reason that he's not playing because he's going to have to leave out a certain player to bring Torreira in. That's my opinion. You know.
Who, the captain?
Yeah, it's going to have to, Kev. You can't. And I think that, there was a little bit of that international. You know, he'd played during the summer, as he had his break and all that. And I still think, coming Watford this game, it was an easy option for him to say, do you know what?
Rest you.
We've had a little rest. You've had all that. You've been travelling all around the world, you know. Because he doesn't want to make that decision of leaving. You know, if you bring in Torreira, you've got to leave out Xhaka. If you're bringing in Torreira, you've got to leave out Guendouzi. He couldn't leave Guendouzi out after his man of the match performance against Spurs. He's not going to leave out Xhaka because he's captain. So I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll put him on the bench. This is again another worry about Emery.
Yeah, no, and I think we've said it because he doesn't know his best team. Lee, that's why you have to question him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Arsenal fans who question him, you're right to question because Torreira is one of our better midfielders. He's probably the best midfielder we've got, central midfielder. He has to play.
Doing that role, but he hasn't helped himself out, Kev.
No, he hasn't.
By coming on
and being ill-disciplined.
And being ill-disciplined and run, you know, gives the manager the opportunity to say, well, you was ill-disciplined, so I'm going to, until you are disciplined, I'm going to play you.
Lee,
not play you.
Lee, that's a good point you just made there. And for the lad who made that, who asked the question, as a manager, if you set a team up and you bring somebody on to play a disciplined role and they're ill-disciplined, you're out.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got the discipline. Our midfield, for the last 2 games, you've been able to run a coach through the midfield.
Yeah, and there's also the little rumblings that he was wanting to leave in the summer and things like that. So I'm
no smoke without fire.
I do think that. Yeah, I do think that.
Thank you, everyone, for watching the Kevin Campbell Show with myself
And Lee, judges, just want to say that we've not been as happy because of it's been a difficult game.
It's been tough.
Hopefully next time we've had a little win and we can have a bit of fun, you know.
Please leave your comments.
Only positive
We really
ones.
appreciate. No, leave them all because this is what it's all about. The fans having their voice.
Having
Thank
their
you
say.
very much, and we'll see you in a fortnight's time.